Hello! It's been a while since I updated you about progress on my detective game and the engine I'm creating especially for it. I will show you all the cool new stuff I made since then. For all of you who know my previous videos, I'm still working on the sprite editor tool, but the good thing is I'm almost done. Let's address the elephant in the room first. Things are moving slow, and since I was able to release my previous game within just a single year, what's going on now? When I was working on Pumpkin Man, my week looked probably something like this. In my free time, I wasn't doing almost anything other than working on this game. In the long run, this becomes unsustainable. So right now, except for working on the game, I'm also running this YouTube channel. I play video games, something that a game developer should do and something I didn't have time to. Right now, I'm really enjoying Disco Elysium, and I can't recommend it enough. It's a really outstanding written piece of art. That said, even though progress is slow but steady, I do have a plan of how to speed things up a little. Foremost, when I'm done with the first iteration of the sprite editor tool, which should happen in a month, I'll be already actively working on the gameplay itself. I won't be doing any other non-essential tooling until the gameplay loop is done, so the upcoming updates will be much more interesting. One more observation comes from playing Disco Elysium. I originally planned quite a big story with many characters, but playing this game made me realize something quite obvious. Exploration and dialogues take quite some time. My target is for the game to take around 4 hours, so having a complex story would be an overkill, and there is a good chance I wouldn't be able to make it. So my idea for now is to have a few short independent detective stories, something like That Case of the Golden Idol game has. This way I can keep stories contained. Moreover, it will be possible to release a demo for the game with just one story. Now, since we have all this out of the way, let's move to the status report. The first thing you may notice is that now there can be multiple images open at the same time, and all the progress will be kept when switching between them. Of course, closing them works too. Let me now create a copy of this sprite file on the hard drive. I clicked refresh so that the image is visible in the viewer and then repack so it's added to the atlas. Now, as you can see, by default each cell is 16 by 16 pixels. Yet sometimes it's easier to just specify the number of rows and columns in a given image than specific cell dimensions. That's why I added this dialog, where users can specify exactly that. Dimensions are calculated automatically. The dialog has full validation and even shows a warning if the given image cannot be divided exactly into the number of columns and rows that were provided. When changes were applied, you might have noticed the asterisks that appeared in the given images tab and near the Save button. This is of course an unsafe changes indicator. This indicator is shown based on the current state of the image history, which is another already implemented feature. Clicking on the clock icon will open the view with all the changes that have been made to the image in the current session. So if I add a new image, rename it, etc., it will be all shown here. I can now use the change history functionality to undo and redo all the performed actions. Another quality of life improvement to the editor is the hints mechanism. When the cursor is hovered over some UI element, a text box will pop up showing the description of what the given control is doing. And finally, it's possible to remove sprites that are no longer needed. This operation can be also undone. There are also those buttons which are used to switch between different sprite edit modes, but the second, non-grid based edit mode is the only thing left for me to implement. So let's move back to the Files tab. Another ready feature is a context menu. Right now it contains 4 options. Open will just open an image view we've seen before. The image can be renamed or deleted, which also remove it from the hard drive. Let's do a quick demonstration of my workflow by using the last 4th option. One feature I'm missing is adding new unbounded sprites with a button. We'll go through adding a new button to the editor together. First, I will need an icon for such a button. I can quickly open a selected image in the graphic editor, which happens to be pretty useful. Then I draw the desired icon and save the file. Now I need to hit the repack and refresh buttons for changes to show up in the editor. Now I open the image in the editor and click on the grid tile with my new icon. This will create an entirely new sprite. Now the only thing left for me to do is to name it and save the project. UI elements are added through the source code, so I need to find an example of similar button and copy it to where I want it to show. Now I can just change the sprite name to one I have just created, and unfortunately this step requires the engine get recompiled, but luckily that doesn't take that much time. Now the only thing left to do is to implement an action that will be fired when the button is pressed. These are all the updates I have for you. There is much more groundwork that has been done with the engine itself, but it's not something that would make for an interesting video. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, subscribe for more and leave a comment if you have any question. I will see you in the next video. Have a nice day.